Hello, I love a good car boot sale, and I was at one the other week and I saw this thing on a table. A Yellow Dog Jigsaw. Never seen one like it before. I think what it does, it goes onto a drill as a jigsaw attachment. So, asked how much it was, £3. Thought, I'm going to have that. That's a fantastic looking thing. But it's a bit rough. It's pretty rusty, so I think before we give it a go, I'm going to give it a clean up. I did some research, can't find really anything about it. I found one other one listed on eBay, but nothing about the operation of it. Ah, and you can see inside, it's all greased up in there. And it's all running pretty smoothly. But it's this base plate that's really bad, which I don't mind it looking rusty, but because it's got to slide nicely over a piece of wood, having a rough, rusted base will cause lots of friction and means it won't run well. The pitting's pretty heavy on it, so I think it's going to need a little more than some sandpaper to clean it up. But what I've got is a wire cut wheel that will go onto my angle grinder. This should make short work of cleaning this rust off. That looks much better. Now there's a little bit of rust on this as well, so do the same with this. There, cleaned up nicely. Right, I've cleaned up the front of that, but I can't get the grinder around the back. But there's a little grub screw here. Yes, I can pull that all out, and then I should be able to clean the last bit of rust off this. That's much better. Now with that piston bit out, we can get the bit that it runs in out, and we can see what the state of the grease is. Now this stuff, yeah, that's all gone pretty hard and horrible. So I think we'll get that all removed, and it's going to need some new fresh grease in there. So the bit at the back is where the drill attaches to. Now if I push on that, this comes out. So you can see it's got the peg on one side, so when it spins, that's what makes the piston go up and down. But with that out, there's nothing in there apart from the aluminium casing, and I can get all this grease scraped out. I have some of this degreasing spray, so I'm going to get some of this in to help dissolve the little bit that's left, and then I'm going to take it into the sink and give it all a wash. So I'll see you in a second. So all the components are cleaned up. Now I can start getting it put together. So this little bushing goes on our planetary wheel and then gets dropped in. Then the bit that rides on that goes over, and our piston can go up through it and out the top of the housing. Now we've got one little screw hole, and it's lining up. I've got a little grub screw that goes into there and can be tightened up. Now obviously I've cleared all the old grease out of there. That works nicely. So we're going to have to replace it. I've got my grease gun. There was absolutely loads in there, so let's try and pack a lot more in there. That's all well greased up and running nicely. Now, on top of that, goes a little paper gasket, then our brass nameplate cover, and 4 little screws to hold it all in place. Okay, that's going nicely. So we have the knob that just screws back on the top, and then we have the base plate to go back on. But because it was all rusted, I don't want to put it back on like how it was. I've got just a bit of wax and get that over for a bit of protection and stop it rusting again, but also just help it glide over the wood with a little less friction, which should make operation a bit easier. Then that goes back on with 3 more screws. That's it all back together, running smoothly. But actually there was one more screw, and that was a little grub screw that just holds the blade in place. But there's threaded inserts or threading on both sides of the piston, and I only had one screw. So I've had a look through my screw box and found a couple of little brass screws that will fit perfectly either side to hold the blade in place. Now I need to find a blade that's going to fit in there. So let's have a look through my blade collection. I've tried one of the ones from my Bosch saws, they don't work, but I have these old ones that have 2 holes in, which I think will work well with the 2 screws. But it doesn't fit. It's slightly too wide. So maybe if this is not all hard and hopefully just the teeth are, I can take a file to it and make it fit. It's not far off fitting, so hopefully just a little bit of work on the end and it will go in. Oh yeah, it's not hardened, so this shouldn't be too much of a problem. Right, let's see if it will fit. Yes, that's going to go in there. So let's get that tightened up on both sides, and then we can give it a go. One more adjustment that he's making before I cut is this little screw at the bottom, and then there's a little guide bearing for the back of the blade. It can just be tapped in so it's against the back of the blade and then done up. Right, I have a little bit of pine because I don't want to be too ambitious with what this can cut. Let's get that clamped into place, and then I have my little 12-volt drill that I'm going to get this attached to. Okay, so I think, let's give it a go. It's worked amazingly well. I don't think it's going to replace my Bosch jigsaws anytime soon, but if I don't drop it, as a cool piece of tool history, I like it. I think it's just going to go on the shelf as a little display piece. Yeah, nice. Just need to find a home for it. So, thanks for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.